What is happening, webheads? That's right, guys. Welcome to Comic Book Corner 2.0 and fans. You're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, bringing you after the poll. This is episode 12, buying Iron Man 2020 or skipping the events. That's right, guys. I want to hear your thoughts about that, especially when we talk about Iron Man 2020 later on in the actual show. So I want to welcome all you guys that are coming on the show right now, and welcome to the viewers who actually watch the show post live. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Remember, subscribe, like, hit the bell so you don't miss any content from me. And at any time, guys, during the show, if you can, show a super chat. That would be awesome as well. So, guys, I have a great show for you today. I don't think it was a huge week when it came to comic books, but some of the books I read were okay. So the first book that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Aquaman issue 56. Aqua Baby is coming. That's right, guys. Aqua Baby's right around the corner. Who's excited for that? It's like Baby Yoda. Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. Next, Teen Titans issue 38. We're going to be talking about a little bit about that book this week. Next, we're going to be talking about not this book because that was last week. So I forgot to delete that. So I'm actually going to delete that. Okay. This book. The Red Mother, issue 2. So we're going to be talking about that one. And next, we're going to be talking about Jessica Jones' Blind Spot, issue 1. And then we're going to be talking about Iron Man 2020, issue 1. That's right, guys. So yes, we're going to have a lot of stuff on there to talk about today. And let's check out our comments and see who we have on the show so far today. Let's see if I get them up here. First comment of the day goes to Andrew. Andrew says, "Webheads unite. I thought we needed a battle cry." Like Avengers Assemble. Hey, we can do that. We can go Webheads Unite if you want. I'll give you that story in a second on how the Webheads were actually how the actual. I was looking to call you guys the fans, something, and a YouTuber came to me and said you should call this, and it kind of went with it. So. Yeah, I'll give you that story once I get some people on that show live, and I shout you guys out a little bit here. So let's take this subscribe thing away and just get your guys' banners up there. All right, so we'll go back to the comments, and we'll go, and we got Coffee Breath is on. So welcome, Coffee Breath. You're on the show, and he's showing his web and his spider web. So I guess that's Webheads, right? Joshua Anderson's on the show. Welcome, Joshua. I'm happy that you're on, that you get a chance to catch me live. And he said, I just read Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 13. Such a good read. I love that series. It looks like, I think he said I dropped Teen Titans. Next, Brett Hess Art is on. Miles has been a great read. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm not into it for some reason. I'm just not into the writer's take on Miles Morales and that whole story. I don't know, but I guess it's an acquired taste, and I'm glad you guys are actually enjoying it. And next, Cheatown Bud gives the old traditional thumbs up. So welcome, guys, to the show. We have 11 viewers, kicking this whole thing off. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your new comic book week and enjoying those books out there. Yeah, so let's get this party started, shall we? Let's talk about it. Let's go to the first book, okay? The first one, oh no, that's right. I wanted to give you the actual thing on why it came up to be Webheads. So, all right. So first things first, is that when I was looking for you guys the fan names, I was listening to what you guys had to say out in last week's show, and I told you that we would come up with something. Okay, so after the show, a viewer by the name of Sebastian Shaw said, my Spider Slayer. He's like, I got it, right? He goes, why don't you call your fans webheads? One, because we are always on the web, right? And so it makes sense that we are a bunch of webheads because we're always on YouTube watching videos and things like that. And then he said, and you're also, your name is Spider Slayer. So it kind of fits the whole thing of Spider-Man, webhead, things like that. So it kind of works both ways. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And he goes, and you can call everybody Spider Slayer and his amazing webheads. So I was like, yeah, that's got kind of a nice ring to it. So that's what I decided to do. So if you guys start hearing me say, hey, all you webheads out there, that's you guys, the fans. So, and of course, this channel is not made possible without you guys. So thank you so much for that. Okay. All right. So one more comment and then we'll get into these, into this, webheads is cool. That's what Joshua says. And so now we'll get into the comments. So now you guys know the story of why you guys are now called the webheads. And I think it kind of works, right? All right. So here we go. Let's talk about the comic books. And guys, you have been warned. There are spoilers here. So if you have not read your books, based off of the ones that I displayed here earlier, come back after the show and watch it later. All right. For some reason I can't think today. I'm a little slow. That happens a lot. I guess that's what happens when you get older, right? All right. So first things first, Aquaman issue 56. Aquababy is coming. That's right, fans. Now, I have not read a single issue of Aquaman. Not one since Rebirth has happened. I've had no desire to. But when I heard that Aquababy was being born soon, I'm like, okay, I'm on board because I want to see what Aquababy looks like. And honestly, it's going to be a first appearance. It's a birth. There's all kinds of crazy things going on out here. And when I read this particular book, okay, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was well written, okay? Here on the last page, I'm going to show you. The baby's not born yet. It's just a story of them when they were engaged and about thinking about having kids. But here is your last page of the book. So that's the way it looks right there. Okay. And so she's in labor and she's about to give birth, and it's going to happen in the next issue. So what happens in this book, okay, we go back to the years when they just got engaged and whatnot. And they talk to each other. They go, do we ever think about having kids? Do we want to have kids in a world where there's always chaos and evil going on? And they make that hard decision, But while they're having this discussion, there's this oil tanker that kind of erupts in fire and whatnot. And the next thing you wind up finding out is that they attack this crew that's on the tanker is being attacked by the trench. And I was like, man, this artwork in this book is absolutely outstanding. I was like, dude. And they look creepy as all hell. It was like kind of horrific looking, that particular page. And I'm like, man, that's really awesome. So literally we find out is that these scientists on this raft or whatever oil tanker thing, I don't know what hell you want to call it. It had a baby trench in it, and they were after this baby, which is supposedly, I guess, going to be at the time the new queen of the trench. And this is what it looked like. And we get to see Aquaman kind of rescue this thing from it being destroyed in this whole fire that was taking place. And because of it, it looks like the trench kind of spared Aquaman's life. They kind of retreated and took the new baby queen thing away, and they kind of lived on. So this is kind of a filler issue. It's a one shot, but it kind of gets you ready for them gearing up to have that kid. Okay. And it was good. And I liked it for what it was. Right. So it was better than some of the books I have already read. So if you want to get on board with Aquaman, issue 57 is going to be the one that you want to jump on, because again, it has to deal with Aquaman and the new baby that's being born. So again, that's going to cause people to probably buy Aquaman, is a first appearance of this this baby and what its relevance is going to be in the DC universe. So interesting stuff here. Good story, nice one shot. I was pleasantly surprised. All right, so let's see what some of the comments say here. Let's see what we got. What we got? If I have anything, GP Venom joins the show and he says, "Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome, Venom." Joshua Anderson says, "What do you think of Batman 86? I loved it. The new writer is great. Finally, a new writer to do my favorite character justice." Yeah, absolutely. I can, I talked about it on last week's show. Batman, I thought it was a great reintroduction, new story arc. Bruce wants to, create a new Gotham. We get to see Joker. He's kind of behind the scenes. The artwork with Tony S. Daniel is beautifully done. And I think it's going to be a good run. It'll be interesting to see how long this creative team stays on here. But I like the first issue. I do need to see more to see if it's going to be an awesome series once again. But I definitely think it's getting people back on Batman once again. All right. Venom says, "I've not picked up Batman up since the middle of last year." Well, Venom, now's the time to do it because we got the new creative team on there. They just popped up on issue 86. It's Tinian the Fourth. And we also have Tony S. Daniel doing the artwork. So go ahead, check it out now. It might get you back into Batman once again. Andrew, there you are. "I've really enjoyed Aquaman. Kelly Sue DeConnick has been great on this series." I think the writer on this particular issue was not Kelly Sue DeConnick. This one is done by Kyle Higgins, and the artwork was done by Aaron Lopresti. So maybe we had Kyle Higgins just write this one book. I don't know. So does Kelly Sue still write the series? But I'm glad you're enjoying it, Andrew. All right, next we have Moses Chavez, sorry. But what is the baby's name going to be? We don't know. Literally, the thing that it says at the last page of the book is that it says Aqua Baby, the birth of Aqua Baby. And I'll show you right there. That's all it says is the birth of Aqua Baby. We don't have a name yet. So it'll be quite interesting to see. So that next issue, guys, issue 57 is going to be a key. So put it on your pull list now, especially if you're into collecting modern day keys, right? All right. Next, we have Coffee Breath says, "I miss street level Batman. He is practically Iron Man nowadays." Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Coffee. I kind of think he is too. He's got so many tricks and gadgets, and he has Lucius Fox at his disposal now, so he can come up with more technological stuff than ever before. So, but I still think we can have some good stories with Batman. I mean, being now that we're more modern than ever, I just think the sky is the limit. Comics have always been futuristic, crazy contraptions and things like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. So thank you for all those wonderful comments. Keep them coming. It makes the live stream a lot better. And when you guys can interact with each other, I think it's awesome as well. All right. And this is how we all become friends. And this is how the Webhead family grows, right? We're all in the web together. Oh, man, I'm cheesy sometimes. Maybe all the time. Anyway, let's move forward. We're going to talk about Teen Titans issue 38. Anybody reading this particular book currently right now besides me? I know I recommend it like crazy, but I think this is a great team book and one of the best DC books that is out there on the rack right now. This story consists of Crush, which is Lobo's daughter, Amiko from Green Arrow, Roundhouse, which is a new character that was invented by Adam Glass for this particular run. And we have Kid Flash or Flash, whatever we want to call him. And then Damian Wayne, who's team leader. And this issue is pretty good. If you guys ever read Batman Incorporated, the death of Damian, this kind of has to tie into that. And this was a little while ago, but we come across where Damian is face to face with his brother, and it's a cloned brother, and his name is the Other. And the Other has been kept in mystery since pretty much issue 20, I want to say. We didn't know who this was, who this crime lord was. And basically, the Other, which is Damian's brother, which rhymes, which is weird, kind of wants Damian to be like the new crime lord or the new Other to, take over crime, because good is not the thing to do. Crime is always going to triumph over, or evil is always going to triumph over good and stuff like that. And it was quite interesting. And so he held it over his head because his partner, one of his teammates, is by the name of Djinn, who is actually a genie. And Damian has this love thing for Djinn. And recently, one of the members betrayed the team and set Djinn back in her ring. It's like a genie lamp, right? But she was set back into the ring, and she was set back, and it's kind of like in this purgatory. And the Other makes this tempting deal to Damian, saying, I can release your little girlfriend if you become the next Other. And he has kind of nothing to say about it. He doesn't want to do that. And there's got to be another way to release her. Roundhouse makes his way back into the actual series once again, as him trying to be redeem himself for betraying the team. I think he is a great character. He's a lot of fun. He's hilarious. He idolizes Flash, which I think is kind of cool. And we get to see some emotional aspects here between Flash and Djinn, and what Damian and Djinn in the future about what he sees. So yeah, it makes for a really good and quite interesting story arc. In the next issue, it looks like they gotta try to find a way to release Djinn from her actual ring. If you've never read this series, you would be pretty much lost at this point. So that's why I probably suggest, if you pick this up, you're probably going to want to pick it up probably about, 8 issues ago to see what's going on with this particular story arc. But this is a great book, and I don't know of any trades that are out for this book, which makes it very difficult to read. But it's an awesome, awesome book. It's great character development. I say it each and every time. It's wonderful. The pacing is good. It makes you care for these characters. They actually grow as a team. You see them go through these struggles. It's so much fun. I love it to death. And hopefully, maybe one day you guys will pick this up. But I don't know too many people who are actually reading it. All right, what do we got here? We got this one. And Sebastian says, hey, Slayer, grading from the Webheads. So this is Sebastian Stark. He is the one that came up with the name of the Webheads, guys. He's the one that came up to me with that idea, the story I talked about earlier. So, Sebastian, now that you're on, I really appreciate you coming up with that name and the whole story behind it on why everyone should be called the Webheads. So, thank you for that. That alone helps the channel tremendously. So, thank you. And in the future, I think what I'm going to try to do is, even if you guys have suggestions, you can put it in the comments as well, of coming up with either a Facebook page or maybe some type of Patreon or something that is going to be called Spider Slayer and His Amazing Webheads. So it's a place for you guys to gather, to do polls, to watch videos and things like that. So I'm trying to think of something like that. It's just a matter of what platform I want to put it on. And how I can manage it, what's going to be easiest for me to manage it in my very busy schedule. So if you guys are interested in something like that, let me know in these comments, or let me know in the comments below after this video is done being live streamed. So thank you for that. Thank you, Sebastian. All right. So next we have Andrew said that. Yes. And let's see, we got the baby's name and then coffee. It's kind of weird. It's like the comments are a little bit off order. Yeah. Okay. I haven't read the story arc for Spider-Man 2099. Should I know should I know you said it was not a great read? Don't waste your time with it. It is horrible read. It is like the worst story arc that Nick Spencer has written when it's come to Spider-Man so far at this point. So stay away from it. You're not going to lose any sleep over it. I don't think you're going to lose any story that has to do with Spider-Man right now. So I would definitely stay away from it. It's not worth $12 to read that 3-issue story arc. Vinny agrees. He's like, skip it, Josh. Andrew says, as long as Adam Glass is writing Teen Titans, I'll be reading. And I am right there with you, Andrew. I agree with you 100%, my man. I think that as long as he's on the book, I'm reading the book. If once he's done with that book, I don't know if I'll be reading it anymore, but I will be following wherever else Adam Glass goes because I think he's really brought that team back. Joshua says, I love The Flash. Such a great read. I haven't read The Flash in such a long time. It's literally been since the beginning of Rebirth, since I read The Flash, I think with Godspeed. And are they still doing the stories with him in there? But yeah, I haven't read that series in such a long time. And it just felt like for me, and again, it's all opinionated. So no one's right, no one's wrong. But for me, when it comes to Flash, I feel like the story is just too drawn out. And a lot of DC titles at this time have been stalled, or slowed down tremendously. And hopefully we get like a direction of where DC really wants to go with their universe shortly. And I'm not sure. I know we're talking about this 5G thing, where they all get these, timelines to fit in continuity, but how does that affect like books? Like I want to see more books from DC. I'm going to the comic shop these days and I look on the DC side of things. I'm just like, man, there's not nearly as many books as I used to read from DC. I can honestly tell you last year was 2019, 2018, there was a ton of DC books that I was reading. And then when the New 52 was around, even though it wasn't the best, I found myself reading a lot more books. I mean, being that I'm a Lantern fan, I read Green Lantern, I read Red Lanterns, I read the Yellow Lantern series or the Sinestro series. I read the Superman books. I went from reading all kinds of DC stuff to barely reading any of it now. Like I read Batman because it's like I feel like I have to read Batman, but now it's getting a little bit better. This Teen Titans book is one I read. I've read Dial H. But there's really not that many. Green Lantern, I'm not a fan of that series right now because it's just Hal Jordan. There's no Green Lantern Corps. There's no Green Arrow. Deathstroke is canceled. Like, there's just so much that's just not there that should be there. And when is it coming back? So that's what I'm anxious to see. All right. So let's see what we have there. Sorry, I went on my little rant. I rant there. I haven't read a lot of Flash, but I do love the character. I think the character is great. Sebastian says, most welcome, Slayer. Just glad to help out where I can. Yeah, man. Thank you. And Kristen Rogers says, what up, community? It's Mike Rogers using his wife's tablet. That's cool. So Mike's like, just letting you know I'm on my wife's tablet. So there's no Kristen here. So welcome, Mike. It's awesome. All right. We got aggressively relaxing on this show. He says the 2099 story has been great in my opinion and is explaining how time works in the Marvel universe after Hickman's X threw a wrench in the traditional multiverse theory. So that's, hey, like I said, you liked it and relaxing. That's fine. Okay. I'm glad you liked it. I just know that the majority out there just wasn't fond of that particular story arc, but there's something for everybody and that's awesome that you enjoyed it. All right, so let's move on, webheads. Let's talk about the next book. So we talked about Aquaman. We talked about the Teen Titans. Now, oh boy, Venom, the end. Are there any more of these Venom, the end books that are actually coming out? I tried the Miles Morales one. It was okay. Like, it wasn't great. I thought that the hero died heroically. I thought that was kind of cool, but the artwork wasn't there for me. It was a very predictable story in many ways. The villain wasn't memorable because he was just like a guy that was wearing a Captain America costume, and he was like this monster. So it didn't make Miles Morales' death as meaningful as it should. Okay, if you guys read that Miles Morales The End book. Now, when it came to Venom The End, I'm like, okay, this is Venom. A lot of people love the character, and I know we've gotten a lot of Venom stuff, right? So I was like, well, how is this one going to read? And if this one is not any good, I'm not going to read any more Venom stuff. Okay, so when it comes to that, so let me check something here, guys. Just want to make sure I'm all good. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I got the audio in. All right, so I got everything in. Okay. All right, so Venom The End was a complete cluster. It was so convoluted and so far into the future that we were trying to tell this cosmic story of what happens to Venom a trillion years from now. That's basically what happens. And the writer of this book, he warned you. He's like, this is a long story. There's a lot to tell. And it really was. It's basically Venom from from right before, when he gets his symbiote all the way to the very end. But it's done in like this timeline fashion. It is all done in basically in this narration. And it's an inventive way of kind of telling the story. I'm not going to lie. I thought it, in many aspects at first, it was really cool. But then it just got complete. It just bored me to death. I was just like, oh my God, why do I care? I'm like, we're going into cosmic territory. We're going into Sentinel territory. We're going into the part where there is nothing left. Venom is literally the only organic being left in the universe. And he basically tears himself inside out, and he actually creates a multiverse. That's what he does. And throughout this entire book, you see him fighting anything like robots and all this other stuff. He becomes like multiple man at one point because the codex is inside of him. It's just weird. It's just off the wall. And it's totally like, I don't care. The only thing I really cared about when I did read this book was how long that he managed to keep Eddie Brock alive and what he did with the host. Every time he got old and his brain started to crumble, he, infused it with Venom, infused it with symbiote pieces, and Eddie Brock's memory became nothing but remembering his first date with a Venom symbiote, or he went swimming with his friend who was a symbiote. And you just get to see Eddie Brock basically become decrepit and die until there was really nothing left, until he just became like rock in ash. And it was really, I felt sad for Eddie Brock. After those first 10, 12 pages, I'm like, all right, I don't care anymore. Like that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what caused Eddie Brock's death. Like, how long did he live? And Eddie Brock was actually the last person left on Earth, because the robots were taking over the entire world, and then they took over the universe, and then they took over the galaxy. And so I get what they were going for here, but it was just, again, it was just convoluted, and it was just things all over the place and trying to make things happen all in one issue, where honestly, they really could have made this book into like a 3-issue arc on, seeing the end of Eddie Brock, then another stage of Venom going through, things in space, and then maybe towards the end of a trillion years. Like, you really could have made this a story arc, but our writer here, he had to really condense everything. So this one was a miss for me. There was elements that were good, but I felt like, it was a good idea, but just can't execute it in one issue. So I'm curious to see if you guys actually bought this, or are you skipping on these particular ones? So let's see what we got. We got a few comments here. We got about 10 comments. Let's see. All right, here we go, guys. First one says, Coffee Breath is saying, what's up? Aggressively relaxing. We have Vinny who says it seems these one shots are really cash grab issues. Yep, they kind of are. And I did not buy the whole Ravencroft thing. I had it in my hand and I said no. I said I'm going to scale back on these one shots this year, and I didn't buy the Ravencroft book. I didn't buy the Ravencroft Sabretooth book. I put that down because they're probably the same way. Vinny says, like, who the hell cares what happens to Venom in a trillion years in the future? Yeah, I know. I get it, and it's just weird, and I like the concept of the end idea. Like, you want to see your favorite hero, what is their end, right? And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense for the Venom symbiote. He'll live on forever. He's not human. He's a parasite, AR says, hey, Coffee Breath, Venom, the end was so amazing. It was cool. They explained the rest of the universe reaction to Hawks and Pox and ties into Slot's Iron Man. See, I give it that. Like, it did tie into, the Iron Man 2020 thing, which I thought it was good. And like I said, it's a good idea. I would have loved to seen this in an arc. 3-4 issues. I think this story could have been told really well done. I would have loved to seen the first issue, just Eddie Brock and how his decomposition happens in the Venom symbiote, and kind of like how he's tortured and all that other stuff, and how the symbiote really latches onto its human host. And then take it from there. Andrew says, the layout of Venom, the end, had my head spinning. I liked it, but man, I had to read it a few times. It's a lot to take in, guys. Venom says, so it's old man Venom. I guess so. Really, it's old man Eddie Brock at first, because you get to see him. He starts off normal, and then you get to see him all wrinkly, and then you get to see like the symbiote infecting his brain and trying to keep him alive. And it was sad and it was gross. And that was the best part of it for me. Let's see. Got that one. We got this. Kristen Rogers says, love the content, brother. Sorry, Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers, I'm glad you like the show, bud. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're my newest webhead. Grandpa's on. What's up, Grandpa? Hello, everybody, he says. Derek is on. He says, oh, you might have already talked about, but what do you think of the Morbius movie? So did you guys see the trailer? I did not talk about it, so we can talk about it here. I thought the Morbius trailer was actually pretty good. It made me want to see the movie. I don't think it was like an, oh, wow, oh, shit factor type of thing, but you know what it does? It gets you into a character that maybe you've never seen before, never really heard of, or want to know more about. And this is a perfect origin story. I love the score to the trailer. I thought it was perfect. And I kind of like how you got to see Michael Keaton in there, because maybe this sets things up for the future when it comes to Spider-Man, right? So I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to it. This is something that I could see in the movie theater. And I want to see a little bit more from the trailer, and I want to see maybe kind of like the downfall of Michael Morbius. Does he start off where he gets these powers, and does he turn into more of a monster-like creature, or can he turn himself into that monster anytime he wants? So that's what I'm looking forward to. GP Venom says, wait, I thought Marvel did a story where Hulk was the last man on Earth. You're kind of right about that, but he wasn't on Earth. It was in Galaxy. It was Immortal Hulk, and yeah, that was kind of weird too, man. It was like he found this race that was these crystal. Oh, it was so weird. I don't even want to get into that. That was the weirdest Immortal Hulk issue. And I love Immortal Hulk, but it just went south on that one. All right, so let's see what we have here. Was it COD Atlantics 23? I think you read all Annihilation Scourge. The Alpha, and did you review the Omega and the others? I did not review the last one. I liked Annihilation Scourge. However, it's nowhere close to the event that it was based off of the first one. I thought that this one was kind of rushed in many ways, and I thought it was going to be a much longer event. It was kind of weird how everything tied together, but it was still kind of cool. Venom says, looks amazing. Looking forward to it. Okay, so we're talking about Morbius there. Coffee says, I got the Ravencroft stuff and skipped the end stuff. So you got one and I got the other. All right, let's see. I think if it would have been a miniseries, it would have been too dragged out and the reader would have been even more disappointed. I think the one shot was the way to go. Okay, so that's your thought on it. That's cool. You know, like I said, for me, I just thought it was too much. It was a larger issue. So even if it was 2 issues, maybe part 1, part 2, that could be believable. You know, I don't know, but you know, you make a good point. So I can agree with that. You know, aggressively relaxing says Ravencroft is a spin-off of the events of Deadpool, tie-in to Carnage event. LOL. The team they put together and the Colonel style hero art was worth the buy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I just for some reason I felt like I didn't really need to learn all that. And I'm sure it has probably some good information in there and maybe some good tie-ins about the, you know, aftermath of absolute carnage and whatnot. But I just felt like if I didn't buy it, I didn't feel like I was really going to technically miss anything there. And there was a Defenders mini series that recently that had Doctor Strange as the last man on Earth also. So we've had a lot of issues that had the last things in the universe, right? Vinny says, yeah, the Michael Keaton cameo better have a good payoff in the movie. You know what I'll be pissed off about when it comes to Morbius is I'll be super pissed if this happens, is if that's all you see of him is what you saw in the actual trailer. I will be super freaking pissed. Grandpa says, how was Lock and Key, Mike? I did not read it yet. If you guys saw my comic book haul yesterday, I bought 3 volumes of Lock and Key because I have never read it before. I bought volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. And I've said for years that I've wanted to read this series, and I just never spent the money on it. And knowing me, when I have to buy something, like I got to buy a collection of it or I got to buy a lot of it so I don't miss out on future things. So when I went to the shop yesterday, they had all 6 of them on the stands. And I'm like, ooh, Lock and Key. And I was like, I got to try to read it before the show comes out. And so I bought the first 3. So I got that, but they were all on sale. And the comic shop manager basically was like, hey, you know, he was a huge Lock and Key fan. He's like, Mike, I cannot believe you still have not read this. And I was like, yes, I got to read it. And he's like, I'm telling you, you're going to love it. So I'm looking forward to the show as well. All right. Derek says the Sony villain movies are cool, but I was thinking now Marvel has to look for cool villains too before Sony takes them all. That's true. Tevye is on the show. He's our newest webhead on the show. Says hi. And then we also, Derek says hi back. So we're saying hi to each other. Rob says greetings. And Tevye says, yeah, I'm burned out with all events. We'll talk about 2020. Marvel really needs to stop doing these pointless events. And I think Vinny agreed with him there. And Hulk says, Hulk the End, 2002. Rob says, I just bought Lock and Key trade paper 1 15 minutes ago. That's awesome. And Tevye goes, also Legion of Superheroes was really stupid. This issue and frankly made no sense of what. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, Tevye, I don't know why you're buying that. I just think the artwork is crazy. Let me show you my Lock and Key, guys. Hold on. Let's see here. All right. So these are these. So the one thing that this book's got for is the covers, man. And I showed this in the hall. It's like, look at that. Those covers are beautiful. That's one. This is That's number 3. I don't know why it's out of order. And then I got number 2. Right. And so I guess every story represents a different key or whatnot. I don't know, man. I have to hurry up and read the rest of my comics for this week so I can dive into all this. And then I'll probably get 4, 5, and 6 hopefully next week. Okay. This. Oh, I got a comic book on the floor. All right. How much time do I have left? I have about 20 minutes left before I got to leave to get up my kids. So let's see. Let's get going here. What do we got? We talked about that. And we got Adam says, totally agree with too many events. Newest webhead on the show. Terrified Cup is on. Says, hey, all. What's up? All right, guys. So, and then Vinny is on and says, those covers remind me of SGM's Batman White Knight covers. Really love the matted glossy look on those covers. Hell yeah. And then nice hella cover, says Venom. All right, so let's go on to our next book, guys. The next one is The Red Mother issue 2. Who picked up Red Mother out there this week, guys? Put it in the discussion, yay or nay. Because if you're not, you should, because this is pretty good. And supposedly I got some special variant cover or secret variant cover that I didn't even know about until you guys in the to the webhead fans out there put it in my comments in my hall saying, hey, you got this secret variant because this logo is red and the dude's eyes are red. I was like, okay, that's cool. So my shop likes to take care of me that way, and they'll put their secret variants in there and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. But if you read this particular issue, it took literally like 5 minutes to read it. Not much has happened in this particular issue. Our main character, Daisy, who recently got mugged and got a prosthetic eye, you get to see her trying to recover from this. She lost her boyfriend in the process. She's trying to get used to, trying to get back on her feet, trying to work again and things like that. She's seeing all kinds of hallucinations. She sees her old boyfriend from this prosthetic eye. She sees red and she gets this crazy guy chasing after her. That's what she sees all the time. And we get to see her deal more with the shrink, and she's on the subway and we get to see the crazy red eyes or red mother chasing after her throughout this entire issue. Okay. So she goes back to her apartment here, and she goes back to her ex-boyfriend's brother's apartment to pick up all her stuff, which was kind of a sad moment. And then she goes back home, and she goes to her door, and there's this package waiting for her. Okay, and in this package, guys, is this I don't know what it is, man. It's like, it looks like a mechanical heart or some, I don't know, some music thing or whatever it could be. I don't know. And the look on her face is like the look on my face when I first saw it. I'm like, what the heck is this? Right. So it was really weird. But man, I have even more questions now than I did at the end of the first issue. And man, it's a good book though. It leaves you with so much mystery. And you feel for this character of what she's going through. She's like being tortured, man. Like, how would you like to actually freaking, go through this mugging? You lose your eye, you lose your boyfriend, and then you get this prosthetic eye. You feel like you're trying to get back on the road to recovery. Next thing you see is you see red and you see some freaky thing chasing after you. How would you act after all that? Dude, that shit was crazy, man. And now you get some freaking box delivered at your door. What the heck is all that about? This is a great book. If you guys, if you haven't, please read it. And I think it's hard to get. So yeah, try to find it if you can. Great stuff. All right. What do we have in our comments here? And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Let's see. Talking about, I only get it for John Kent, Superboy, but frankly, this was the final straw for me. Talking about Legion. Derek is laughing. Tevia says nay on Red Mother. Coffee loves Red Mother. Scenario says nay. Rob says, LOL, red. The red title is the secret cover. Okay. Tevye has like never heard of it. This story should be read in trade, I think. This would be an awesome trade read for sure. But the good thing about it is it's not so overwhelming to where you forget what happens in the story. There's some books where they're great trade reads because you forget what happens. The story is so complex, but this kind of drags out the story more. Tevye says, reminds me of the horror movie called The Eye. Coffee says, I thought the pacing for single issues was great. Honestly, one of the things I like about it. Derek says, what the heck is, I think? Oh, are we talking about the heart thing? Yep. What the heck? That's what Tevye says also. So is she Russian? No, I don't think she's Russian. I think she was English. I think it was. She's from London, I think. I wouldn't like that at all. You wouldn't like Red Mother? If you like Jeremy Hahn's work on Red Mother, you should check out Realm from Image. It's like Mad Max and Dungeons and Dragons had a baby. It's awesome. And then we have Coffee says, thanks, Andrew. I will look for it. So thanks for that recommendation. Yeah, guys, anytime during the show, if you ever have recommendations of yourself for the other webheads out there, let them know, man. That's how this community grows and how we show our love for the comics and get these comic book sales up so comic books last a very long time. And Rob says, LOL, I'll look for that. All right. So next we're going to talk about... We got a couple more comments here. Oh, I mean, being chased by that monster. Oh, okay. Damn, I'm late for my favorite Spider Slayer. Kelvin's on the show. He's the newest webhead on the web with the webheads. The webheads unite. That's right. Andrew's battle cry. All right, we're going on to the next one. And you're never too late to join Mike Spider Slayer. All right, next comic, guys. We're going to be talking about, bam, there it is. Jessica Jones, Blind Spot. This is issue 1. Now, a while ago, this came out digitally. Did any of you guys read this? This was like a digital series. It would have like 3 pages, be released the next week or something like that. And I think I read maybe portions of it, but I never read the whole thing. And this book is really good. Kelly Thompson writes it. So if you're not a fan of some of her writing right now of certain titles, you might like this. And if you know Jessica Jones, the character based off of the Netflix series, you're going to like this because I think she writes her to the spot, like spot on. She took over for Brian Michael Bendis, because Michael Bendis obviously wrote, Jessica Jones and stuff like that. So this book is really good because you get to see Jessica. She interacts with Luke Cage and her daughter in this particular issue. And Luke Cage just wants to help kids play basketball. It's just you get to see them be like this normal family, which is really good. So when she goes back to her office, she winds up finding this dead body on the floor. It's a typical setup, right? Someone's trying to set her up. But the dialogue, and we've seen this before, but the dialogue in this book and her voice is so well written. It's it's so good. You get to see these cops hold the gun to her and they don't like her because she's this hero and she's got superpowers and whatnot. And the artwork is really good as well. Kind of reminds me of Andrea Sorrentino's take on it, but it's not obviously him. We get to see her you get to see from her point of view of what it's like to be a private investigator on things of what to look for, which I thought is really awesome. Shaving, wedding bands, tan line, tattoo. Like she's always looking for clues, which I think makes a really good investigator. And we wind up finding out that the person that gets killed in this particular book is by the name of Dia Sloan. So she was an old case that she took on where this girl felt like her boyfriend was cheating on her and she wanted Jessica to investigate it. But the case wasn't closed because this girl reminded her herself when she was younger and she kind of failed the case and it kind of went cold. Well, this girl was murdered and now Jessica's got to go back to her office do some investigation and find out what's going on with this chick. By the time we get to the end of this issue, when she goes back into her office and does this investigation, we wind up finding out that someone is in her office, points a gun behind her head, and shoots her in the freaking head, and she is lying on the ground dead. Ah, fuck yeah, man. Good shit. Good mystery. I loved it. I thought it was so good, so well written. And even if it's been a couple years, you probably forgot what you read. I definitely suggest Jessica Jones Blind Spot. I thought it was phenomenal. Great artwork. And yeah, it shows you how Kelly Thompson is, a really good writer, especially when it comes to Jessica Jones here. All right. So let's see if you guys read Alias or Jessica Jones Blind Spot. All right. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So Tevia was laughing. Never read Jessica Jones. He also said that. Rob said, saw it, did not read it. Slime says, nah, I didn't. I was waiting for an oversized hardcover for it. Welcome to the show, Slime, by the way. I love the JJ Webb only comments. Makes me happy that I can have them in my hands now too. Yeah, that's cool. Jessica Jones was so good, man. Oh, God, it's so good. Do we get to see Jessica Jones' daughter? Yeah, she's in there. She's in like the first 2 pages or so, which is kind of cool. And they make all these funny references of how she wants like certain cereal and shit. It's so good. What's your favorite comic in your collection, Slayer? It's going to be very easy. It's Amazing Spider-Man issue 300. I have a really good copy of that. First Todd McFarlane run, first appearance of Venom. It's my baby. Ever since I was a kid, I saw that book on the wall. And at that time, that book wasn't that old, but it was like $15 at the time. And I'm like, dude, I got to buy this book. But for $15, I didn't have $15. So as it got older, it became more money and became more out of my price range until one day I was old enough to, my comic shop said, I asked them if they had it. They said they can get one. I put down a down payment for it. And I paid like $5 each week until I finally got it. I think I paid like just over $100 for it over time. And now it's worth much more than that. So I'm happy to have it in my collection. Tevia said, at Tevia, yes, at the end, but something happened with her skin. Let's see. We got Coffee says, ouch. And Tevia says, damn. Let's see what else we got here. Andrew says, I read Blind Spot when it was made available in trade. I really liked it. Kelly Thompson really captured Jessica's voice. The next volume is really good too. Definitely looking forward to it. Is Jessica Jones dead? Well, you got to find out and read it. No one dies in Marvel Comics. Come on, you should know that, right? Let's see. Coffee Breath says, OG Captain Marvel and Uncle Ben. That's right. And Venom says, nice. And Derek says, dang, wow, over 100. That's right. That's what I spent for it. Guys, I want to let you know real quick before we jump into Iron Man 2020. I have a group channel that I do. It's called Comic Frontline, where me and my friends get together and we do a live show every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Well, on StreamYard, where I stream this podcast from, we found a way to where I can stream it, where we can stream it not only on Comic Frontline, but I can stream it now on this channel at the actual same time. It's called Comic Book Weekly. Again, it's on Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Some of you guys that are on the show already watch it over there, but it's also going to be streamed over here. So if you guys can remember, all right, tune in on Tuesday at 10 p.m. and it's a great show. It's like a morning talk show, but all comics. We talk about our top 5 comics. We talk about the news each week for comics. We talk about what we're looking forward to. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. So guys, check it out. It's actually, I have an episode already up on here on the channel as well, if you guys kind of want an idea of what it's like. All right. So let's see. Marvel has stayed dead too, so sadly. That is true. No one ever is really gone. Gwen Stacy's dead, that Tevia said earlier, but Gwen Stacy's always in every comic anyway. She's getting her own series. And let's see. Uh, yes, please. I would love to watch it. You will see it here. Like I said, it'll be streamed in both places. All right. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about is Iron Man 2020. And this goes back to the whole discussion that we talked about earlier about, is there, are you in for this event? Okay. Or is this kind of one of those loose Marvel events or Iron Man events? And are you buying this? Me, after reading this particular issue, I'm going to say probably. I think I am. Since I'm cutting back on some of that other stuff, I'm probably going to buy this. I've always been an Iron Man fan, even before Iron Man became popular, right? Because I always liked robots and I love seeing the armor and the tech and shit like that. And so when this was announced, I kind of didn't know what to expect from it, right? And I'm not saying it's a great event in any way, shape, or form. Shit, it might not even be the best, even a very good event. It could be just an average event. But there's something about this that attracts it to me. And I don't know if it has to deal with the kid inside of me, because this is when I was really into Iron Man, like Transformers and all that shit. But what's cool about this book is like the machines are taking over the world. We've seen this before, obviously, in many stories like Terminator and what's not. And the whole world's going to be consumed by this freaky ass thing right here. Okay. And Tony Stark is no longer around. He's basically this AI thing. And also the robots are also revolting on Earth against the humans. And the person that leads this is the Machine Man. And the person that is in charge of Stark Industries these days is Sunset Bane. So that's who's in charge of the industries. And so now the humans are trying to destroy these robots from taking over the world. And it makes for a quite interesting little story here. But again, Machine Man is behind all this. And we also have like the field general who's like, who calls himself Mark, which is Mark 1. That kind of looks like the Mandarin and Tony Stark. I don't even know, but he's wearing a Mark 1 armor and he's behind the whole thing as well, leading all these robots to destroy the humans. So we got this crazy robot thing that's taking over the Earth in the future. And then we got robots on Earth that are going to be taking over. It's just weird, dude. But you know what? By the time I got into it, I'm like, okay, this could be fun, So I don't know if we don't take it too seriously. I don't know. And then there's this timeline here, which I didn't even notice until like right before the show came on, of everything that happens with Arno Stark's timeline. So if you want to know more about that particular character, which I'm going to have to go back and read, and then you got your little checklist. So again, this is where I'm saying, are you on board with this? Because there's a lot of things that tie into this. You get Iron Man 2020, issue 1, issue 2, and then you get the spin-off series. So you get the Machine Man 2020, issue 1, Force Works. You guys remember that series from the 90s, issue 1. You get Rescue 2020, issue 1, that has to deal with Pepper Potts. And so this goes all the way to Iron Man 2020, issue 6. Fuck, even Wolverine is in this shit. Like, what does Wolverine have to do with anything with Iron Man, right? So, yeah, it's kind of weird. And there's also an Ironheart 2021 shot in here, too. So, are you guys really burned out by all this stuff that Marvel presents to you? Or do you feel like these events are worth reading because it creates one big story and it could affect the Marvel universe or whatnot? Or do you just like seeing individual stories? Again, I like stories. I like these larger ones. At this point, I don't think they're ever going to go away. I think fans can hope for Marvel events to go away, but it's not going to happen. You know why? Because it makes for a great trade. And Marvel wants to sell these trades to make more money. And if people want to read these books, they can read it in a book form and not in a comic book form. So they make the money off of the floppies, they make the money off of the trade, and it's a win-win for them. So that's why they come up with all these particular, events. Again, I'm going to try it out. I think I might like it. If it gets boring, though, this could be an event where I will be like, okay, I'm going to drop this. I won't hesitate. Where Absolute Carnage was different because Carnage is Spider-Man, Venom, Spider-Man. That shit I had to see all the way through. This, though, if it's halfway through, I'm like, man, this is lame. I'll cut it off. I don't have a problem. I'm not a completionist. I'll take the 3 issues I have. I'll try to sell them in a garage sale. I'll give them away if I do a contest on here, shit like that. So that's how I feel when it comes to, these events. I take them, leave them. Who cares? Major events, I'll always pick those up too, unless they get boring. Got a lot of comments. So, but those are all the comics that we talked about today, so guys. So hopefully you enjoyed the comics. I'm going to read off these comments real quick, and then I will have to head off and pick up the kids from school. So let's see what you guys say. There's some funny ones I'm already reading. Let's see. Nice reference. Let's see. There's a question here. How is it Marvel doesn't let Peter and Mary Jane get remarried and have kids, but Jessica Jones can have a daughter with Luke Cage? I don't know, and I'm not going to worry about it. At least Mary Jane and Peter are together. Next, I hate those shoulder gear. How is that shit functional? It is not functional to have shoulder gears that big. You cannot lift your freaking arms. It hits your head. It's not a functional armor. It doesn't make sense to me. Venom's just like, he's just like, listen, guys, it's over. The events, they suck. Tevi is like very Terminator. Yeah, absolutely it is. Jobin Prime says, bought it for the pink 80s neon cover. It is a badass cover, and it definitely catches the attention, and it catches your eye when you're if you're at the comic book shop and you see 50 comic books, you're going to see that freaking bright pink cover. Venom says they did. Slime says, nah, not interested in Slot's Iron Man. Let's see. Sebastian says, Iron Man has always been my favorite character from Marvel, but not sure I'm into the 2099 or 2020 action. And if you guys are not reading it, I'll keep you posted on it, and I'll let you know how I feel next month or the month after that. Tevia says, so Machine Man is the main villain. Yes, he is. He is behind it all. Read the first issue, but I'm out. Not interested at all. Good for my wallet. There you go. Save you some bucks, or it helps you pick up other comics that you would have maybe want to try out, or maybe get a back issue or even a trade, right? Vinny says, great for your wallet. He's laughing. Let's see. Andrew says, I enjoyed Iron Man 2020. Good setup. Apparently, the main villain is artificial intelligence of Tony Stark. Yeah, I know that, but he had like long hair and shit. And so it kind of threw me off because I was like, he kind of also looks like the Mandarin because he had the mustache and long hair. And so even though I know he said that, Tevia, so that's why I was like second guessing myself. But thank you for clearing that up. And he goes, yeah, that's way too many tie-ins. And Ryan's like, what's up, buddy? Ryan, another webhead on the show. Vinny says, Wolverine 2020, anything for some cash. Yeah. What's he going to do? Going to wear armor? And he's going to have like laser claws? Oh, wait. Didn't Wolverine have that already? Tevia says, what does Wolverine have to do with this story? That's exactly. It's like, I almost want to pick it up to be like, okay, yeah, what does he have to do with this story? Venom says, I'm out, guys. Have a good one. Hey, Venom, thanks for joining the show, bud. Thank you so much. Have a great one. And Vinny says, later. And Tevia says, so why even make single issues if they are writing it in trade? It's for people that want to collect single issues. Come on, we know that. And want to read it now. We know the trades don't come out now. They come out when the event is done. Mr. Vic says, Hola from Mexico. Welcome, Mr. Vic. And Ryan says, thanks, guys. I am stoked. So great comments, guys. Great show. I really appreciate you guys all being on here today. It was a lot of fun. We had over 30 viewers. If you guys know anybody that enjoys comic books, enjoys live stream podcasts, and has the time to watch it, let them know about this channel. Let them know about this live stream. And guys, don't forget to tune in to Comic Book Weekly, the newest show that's going to be on this channel, coupled with Comic Frontline, 10 p.m. Tuesday. It's on Eastern time. So remember that. Okay. So again, guys, thank you for all the participation. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being part of the Webhead family. And I really appreciate it. I got people from Singapore, and Gamma's just joining the show. And I'm sorry, Gamma, but I'm signing off. Hopefully you can watch it afterwards. And Webheads, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.